Pranam Acharya ji. If the self is the one who chooses to be revealed only to those who are worthy, it means that even if we dedicate our whole life to seeking the truth, with all that we have, there is still the possibility of not realizing the truth or of not being chosen. How to seek the truth, how to walk the path of self-realization without fear and without worrying whether we will be successful or not.
That's exactly the way to approach the truth. You do the right thing without worrying for what will happen. You see, the truth is not a whimsical chooser. It chooses purely on merit. And your merit is something that you decide. Therefore, the choice is not really made by the truth. The choice is made by you. We clarified this didn't we? The truth is not partial or biased. The truth is quite universal. Grace is very unconditional. Your receptivity is not. It's not grace that increases when you do the right things. It's your receptivity that you have to increase. And if your receptivity increases, then what you receive increases on its own. The truth is choiceless. The truth won't hold back anything. If you are deserving, you will get it. So just work towards being more deserving. And how does one become more deserving of the truth? By being less fond of the false. In fact, that's the reason I do not talk so much of the truth. I do not say be more deserving of the truth. I would rather say be less enamored of the false. Because the truth is a given. The truth is unconditional. The truth is already. You are not ready. You are not ready because you are too much with the false. The false has to be worked upon. That's where the challenge lies for you. Identify what is false in life. The moment it is identified as false, be honest and drop it. And if you cannot drop it even after calling it false, either you have still not seen it clearly, or you are determined to remain dishonest. One of these two things. Usually these two go together. Realization leaves no space for dishonesty. And if you are dishonest, if you are intent on remaining dishonest, realization remains distant. Realization usually remains distant, so we cannot do much about it. So I talk of the one thing that is very close to you and you can do something about it, and that is dishonesty. Repeatedly I ask you to be more honest with yourselves. I call it acknowledgement. I say you already know, just acknowledge. The distance between knowledge and acknowledgement is the distance between bondage and liberation, the distance between ego and Atma. Knowledge is not at all acknowledgement. You can have a lot of knowledge, but you just don't acknowledge. Some part of you, in spite of having knowledge, defies knowledge. That part is Maya. Beware. What's the error we make in seeking? We focus so much on the sought without casting a glance at the seeker. Much more concerned about the seeker than the sought. When the seeker is purified, you find that the seeker and the sought are indistinct. And the dirtier the seeker is, the farther the sought is. The farther the sought is, the more the seeker feels like running towards the sought and applying smart and cunning ways to reach the sought. It's a bad cycle to be caught in. The more deluded you are, the less you feel like looking at yourself. The less you look at yourself, the more deluded you remain. The more you need to look at yourself, the less likely you are to look at yourself. We act exactly against our needs. We need one thing, we want exactly the opposite of what we need. That's the problem. Our needs and wants are not merely different, they are opposite to each other. Getting it? Tapasya, austerities, penance. False austerities, false asceticism will not take you there. What is false tapasya? The same as false seeking or sadhana. It is directed towards an object rather than the subject. Effort which is sadhana, which is tapasya, has to be directed towards the subject rather than the object. And that's the right definition of work. Work is not to be done to attain something in the world. Work is to be done to destroy our limitations. In the process of destruction of your limitations, if you attain something in the world, wonderful. If attaining something in the world is necessary to challenge your limitations, fine, attain something. But attainment cannot be the target. The target has to be within. If you're working to attain, you are missing the point. You'll be working without the right results. But when you know yourself, right? Vidwan, a man of the word in the shlok. Vidya. Vidya is self-knowledge, not knowledge of the world. When a man who knows himself, when a man of self-knowledge, a Vidwan, uses power, seeking, action, he attains Brahma. Getting it? Self-knowledge comes first, and then comes action arising from self-knowledge. And then comes Brahma. Don't just work, don't just act. You're not here to work. You're not here to slog. You are here to be liberated. So work towards liberation, don't just work. You're not here to consume and be pleased. Work, therefore, cannot be a means to just fetch you some results or money or livelihood or. Work means action towards liberation. Liberation is not something that you keep for the 1 hour in the morning and half an hour before you go to bed. Liberation is your chief work. What do you work for? Liberation. Liberation is not a part-time activity. It's not a hobby or an interest. It's your central occupation, it's your prime purpose. There's nothing else to work for. Getting it? Ask yourself, what's your work taking you towards? What's your work taking you towards? Do you remember to ask this? When all your work will be done, what will you be left with? Ask.